Hello and welcome to the first of the video series that we've got running for the people of Speakables in the Speakable You world. I would love to very quickly introduce you to Troy and Zara Love. So I'm going to do the official bio for a moment. And so Troy and Zara are directors of Great Talk, a Melbourne-based specialist live communications company. I love that. Live communications rather than dead communications, always a good thing. They believe in the power of one great talk to change attitudes, lives, and the world, and we're really in alignment with that. Having spent 28 years as partners in work and life, they deserve a medal. No, they've also had more than 10,000 appearances on stage, radio and screen to a collective audience of more than 10 million people. Their corporate clients have included Combank, Cadbury, Coca-Cola, IBM, Microsoft, Marriott, Telstra and many more. And they work as speaker coaches for new and established keynote speakers. And this morning, they're coming to you to help you. Welcome, guys.
Hey, that sounds fantastic. I don't know who those people are, but they sound awesome.
Well, let's see if we can find them. We'll have a chat in the meantime. Does that sound all right to you guys? Fantastic. Well, obviously, that's a very quick bio. Just wanted to, our world's changed in the last, God, it's only really been 10 days, hasn't it? Like, it's not really been that long. So the world has really changed. So are you guys coming from where you would normally work from? Have you had to change where you're working from?
No, we're really lucky. Now, all of the conferencing work obviously went away very quickly.
Yeah, almost in 4 days, everything for the year gone.
Yeah, it was off a cliff. We were at convention in Adelaide and Michael McQueen lost hundreds of gigs in a few hours. So
extraordinary. So this was shaping up to be our best year conference-wise, and we were kind of set for the entire year. In fact, we were complaining that we were booked up till November.
Careful what you wish for, guys.
It could fit a holiday.
Put out there into the world. And yet, the other side of our business, we're very, very blessed because we moved to an online coaching model a couple of years ago. So most of our work, in fact, is done from our office.
Perfect.
So we're really in a great position. And we're finding that there's sort of two different types of speakers, some that are running for the hills and screaming and panicking, and some that are kind of forward thinking and going, you know what, this is an opportunity. It's a time that I can actually rethink, reboot, rejig what I have been doing and maybe do it slightly differently. And when things get back to it, I want to be ready. So
I think you have to see it positively at the moment, don't you? And the good thing for us is that you're quite right, after 28 years, pretty much every day together, we're okay with lockdown.
You had some, so you're not one of the ones the divorce lawyers are waiting for eagerly to come out the other end of isolation.
Be careful what you put out there.
Yeah, exactly right. The universe listens to everything. So you spoke a little bit about most of the conference business has gone, and that did happen rapidly. It was breathtaking. What's the sort of beliefs and belief systems and things like that are helping you navigate? So obviously you have got clients like I do, some clients that are just going, right, what do I need to do in this next 3 to 6 months to keep me in the game? Others are just packing up their bat and ball and going home. So we've got the same spread, and the people listening will be in both camps. So what is it for you guys that you're bringing to play to not only help yourself navigate, but also in the conversations with your clients to help them to sort of ground in and go, okay, this is an opportunity and this is how we can navigate it?
Well, I mean, we're big believers in positive psychology, so I think that's probably helping right now. And also I think the best thing we can do, whether it's for your business or just for you personally, under this sort of pressure, is to just have the mindset of what can I give? What value can I add? Whose podcast can I appear on? You know, who can I chat to? How can I give value to others right now? Because it takes a little bit of pressure off yourself and a little bit of that worry away. And there's plenty of reason to be worried. So let's worry about what we need to worry about when we need to worry about it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Just the act of being in service, which, you know, many people in this industry, that's why we do what we do anyway. So
absolutely.
It's innate in us to want to reach out and be of service to people, but never sell, but step up for people a lot at the moment and just keep checking in on a regular basis. But Troy's right, it all comes down to the mindset, and we believe that all change, even the hardest change in the world, is always an opportunity to do things differently. And if we were honest with ourselves, you know, January hit with a bang this year. In fact, all of our corporate clients were all complaining that they'd hit the ground running, that they were up to their eyeballs. It felt like they were at November. It was only January. You know, everyone was kind of screaming a little bit, oh, can we stop the world? I want to get off it.
Careful what you ask for.
You know, and I wonder in some ways whether we did create a collective sickie globally.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? I really want a long weekend.
Need some time.
And I just need some time for me. And maybe the way we were doing it wasn't very conducive to a happy and healthy human anyway. Now, many of us do it in a really great way. I don't necessarily put myself in that category, actually, but I think that it's an opportunity for us to go, you know what, how do we change the world for the better? How do I want my life to look? How do I want my life to feel? Who do I want to work with? Where can I be of service? And if nothing else is happening, how can I use this time to nourish my soul and do that thing that's been sitting on the back burner for way too long, weighing me down? How do I give it expression and life and start to visualize it into existence here and now today?
Perfect. The other thing that I've actually been talking to my clients about as well, because I'm a big believer, and I actually, all of my private clients, I move them very quickly to reaching out and serving, and they've been really surprised by what that's actually done for their own mindset. Surprise, surprise. Yes. But what I've also been saying to people is also there's almost as much pressure now coming with, use this time to feed your soul and do those projects. And I said, if you just need to stop and collapse for a day, also do that. Like, there is no rules anymore.
I hear you, and I'm definitely giving the Netflix a bit of a run for.
I'm doing it in the middle of the day sometimes,
and guilt-free.
Guys, I'm not doing that. I'm working really hard for all of you.
Told us to. I mean it. If we don't find a way to kind of put a breath into the way that we're working at the moment and put our feet up a little bit and go for those walks, with one or two people that we're allowed to go for walks with.
Connect with the family that you like.
Yeah. That's right. If we don't do it now, then when? Because before we know it, the cycle will pick back up again and people will be chasing their tails and, everyone will be scrambling. And kind of our motto right now is amble, don't scramble.
Oh, I like that. I really like that. I think everyone should take that one away with them. Amble, don't scramble is fabulous. And it sums it up. And I keep saying to people, having gone through 9/11 as travel agency owners at the time, having gone through the GFC as a director in a recruitment business, I say to people, I've been saying to people for the last couple of weeks, guys, this will pass. We'll have this bump along the bottom and then we'll start to get a rhythm and then we'll see a view of the future. And if you don't take time now to process the grief and the hurt and just pull up and to get yourself ready and keep investing in it, then you will miss the upswing. And I couldn't think of anything worse,
And you're quite right, cyclically. I remember when we were working as on breakfast radio for many, many years, I remember that we were asked to host the Ansett party when Ansett closed down.
Yeah, Ansett in Perth were closing. So they said, would you come along and host the staff party, which was a beautiful send-off, actually.
It was just stunning. And we really got a sense of how much these people that, fly through our skies every minute of every day love their jobs and love what they do and love people. And it was just heartbreaking, but also profound to be able to hold them in our hands and say, this will get better. Life will return to normal. There will be a new version of what this looks like. And then today to hear, that Virgin are letting go all of those people, that Qantas, as we know, are letting go of, massive amount of people. But again, they will find their feet. Something new will arise.
Hopefully we still have airlines flying in another 6 months.
Well, the thing is, one of the things that someone said that to me, I think when Qantas made their announcement last week, and this is a little bit off topic, but I said, in that weeks after the 9/11, yes, Ansett collapsed, and there was a couple. But what people don't realise is around the world, 39 airlines went under in that following 7 days. So we had people stuck around the world, and we're doing this shuffleboard trying to get them. And every time we thought we had them on flights, another airline would go down.
Yes.
And, within a matter of years, that was a memory. Like, most people didn't even realise that we'd gone through that period. So it's like everything. I really feel for the impact, and I'm feeling the impact. I think we all are. But I also, having gone through a couple of major things, go, at some point it'll come in, and when the demand is back, either those companies will regenerate or new players will come in. It's just human nature.
That's right. And what we do in this moment of time matters. It counts. How we
absolutely. So having said that, and I know that you also work with emerging speakers, and some of the audience will be actually aspiring speakers, so they've just really started to think about it. They're not quite at that emerging level yet.
Do it. We need you. We need your message. We need your calm voice.
So one of the things that I've noticed is they've been almost rocked more than us, because it's a world that they were just starting to explore. Most of them have got some phenomenal career or subject matter expertise, and so they've almost in some ways been rocked a little bit more than us. And I think it's more because they were just looking at that world, just starting to set up plans. So what would be your number one piece of advice to those people at the moment?
I think don't panic is a really good piece of advice that Douglas Adams wrote back in the 70s on the front of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's probably one that we need now more than ever. I think let's say if you are an established speaker and you've got a really great business that was going great guns until about 2 weeks ago, all of your focus is forward. So it's a bit like in nature with a predator. Your vision tends to focus down because you've a goal and a target. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's when you don't see things coming from behind you, and that's the lessons that nature teaches us, right? So this now is an opportunity to stop, take a breath, open up that peripheral vision, and just think, regroup, strategize. And for new speakers, you're in exactly the same boat as we are. It's okay. If you believe in yourself and you believe in your message, keep the faith. It'll come good again, and you'll be up there. And we need your calm voice. We need your message now more than ever. Yeah,
it's just shifted direction. It's just shifted ever so slightly to the left or to the right. It hasn't necessarily changed. And, you know, our wise grandparents always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And they say smart things like, you know, save for a rainy day.
Oh, yeah, that was a good piece of advice that none of us did.
Yes, that's right. And make hay while the sun shines. Well, guess what? The sun is still shining right now. Yep. And all we've got to do is take a bit like the time warp, take a step to the left.
Yeah, sure.
All right?
Yeah. Jump to the left and then a step to the right.
Yeah. Put up hands.
I almost started doing the actions. I better not do that for the people watching this later.
No, don't do the time warp. But
we all know it, don't we?
do a little pivot, just to a slightly different direction, and put all of your energy where it can go right now, which is obviously on your friends, your family, your loved ones, but also into this little camera here that gets you to the world, and just work it out.
Yeah, perfect.
To be lucrative, find a way to be of service, find a way, because I just want to say one thing. I woke up this morning and felt a little heavy. Yeah. You know, I woke up this morning and went, it was really, I struggled a bit yesterday.
There's a lot to think about at the moment.
And even though I've got a bit on today, I still kind of went, where's it going and what am I going to do? And you know what's helped almost immediately is talking to you, Jacqueline. So the minute that we kind of get out of ourselves and start our day and focus on just giving to somebody else that has asked for your service or not, suddenly it all lifts off you and you can see the potential in your day again. Then you've got the energy in your body again, and you can start to go, I might play with this today.
And I should point out too that you can extend those interactions beyond the ones that you seek out and that are waiting for you to contact them, like your family and your friends and your colleagues and people that you deal with, to beyond that. You know, when you do go out and do that once a week grocery run, there's an opportunity to say thank you to those staff who've been working super hard in supermarkets. If you're at the doctor's, say, thank you for being here. Thank you for your staff, the work you do.
And the best stuff comes out. I mean, that's what I love about the internet too, is you get to share all the beautiful stories. My mother's 86. She lives on the Gold Coast. She's a gun, unstoppable, is absolutely going bat crazy.
She omitted a word there.
Yes.
All right, I'm with you. I've got it, channeled it.
How she's described it. But she's stuck in her house. I mean, it's a lovely house overlooking a pond, but she can't connect with her friends. She can't go to cards groups. She can't do all the stuff she normally can.
She's normally very active.
That's right. So she's really kind of struggling with the isolation, even though we're all checking in many times a day. But a girlfriend from school that really I haven't seen for a very long time reached out to her out of the blue this week and said, hello, Mrs. Gross. That's my old surname. Mrs. Gross, it's Yvette Drinkwater here. And look, I know you're probably at your house and can't get out. My husband and I live close. We'd like to go and do your shopping for you each week.
Isn't that beautiful? You're an awesome person, Yvette, by the way.
And it makes me cry. Just the idea of that. It's so random, so out of the blue, and yet such a beautiful gift, and it just made Mum's day. So
one of the things I was talking about last night, actually, the one thing that I don't want to lose in this is that, you know, whilst there is a lot of that media that I won't watch, mainstream media, with all the negativity and all that sort of stuff, you know, there is also so much kindness erupting. Yes. And I really don't want us to lose that, of all the things that will happen as we go back. And, you know, when we were in recruitment in the GFC, that was really interesting because we all elected to do 7-day fortnights and 4-day weeks so that nobody had to lose their jobs. And what was really interesting was in that space that was created, we all remembered, because recruitment's brutal, and we all remembered that we had this other part of us. And so at the end of the 6 months when we were all to go back to full-time, only 20% of people went back to full-time. Because the ability to bring all that other stuff in actually made us more powerful as from a results perspective. We were more generous in what we did, and we actually decided we weren't going to give that time up.
Yeah, and I think that that's going to be what happens now in the world. I honestly think it's not going to go back to the way it was.
I honestly hope so, because really the world was working for the 1% and not for the rest of us. So now would be a great time for us to reevaluate what we're doing, how we're thinking, how we're taxing people, where that money goes, how that money's used. I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing, but I think really in Australia, we were probably 2 weeks late on the medical side of things. And what we should have focused on was the medical side of things. It should have come in 2 weeks earlier. All of the measures that we have in place today should have been 2 weeks ago. And they should have just economically, that's where the government was focused, there should have been a freeze. It should have said 2 weeks, no hire, no fire. We'll come back to you with the economic plan. Right now, we have a medical emergency we need to deal with.
Yeah.
And they should have come back with a better economic plan.
But our belief really is that you can't just expect the government to solve these problems. Even though
I'm a farm girl, I grew up in the country, and Troy, we're connected on social. I did actually talk about this last week. Like, you know, on the farm, you had a problem, everyone got together, you had a beer and a rum chaser, and you stood shoulder to shoulder until you worked out the solution. And you didn't collapse in a heap when the government didn't help you enough.
Yeah, and if you couldn't fix it with fencing wire and a pair of pliers, it was really...
Yeah.
So, you know, so my thing is, I believe that the government has a role. I believe that this is not the time to criticise them. We need to get through this and get out of it and then talk about what we've learned, like almost like a debrief. But I also believe that, you know, that Australians actually need to remember, and I spoke about this as well in one of my posts, Australians actually need to remember that we've got a reputation for being great at war, right? And we need to be that, because we're actually on a war footing.
We are on a war footing.
You know, Australians have a global reputation for being amazing in a war zone, and we actually need to be that.
Yeah, which is stepping up and stepping in, but it's also small groups of people having a beer and a rum chaser. You had me there, basically.
It's 20 past 9 a.m. as we speak, so I think it's time. I'm going to get a beer.
Well, it's breakfast time here. That's okay, isn't it?
It will be small groups of clever people who connect and say, yep, I think I can contribute. I've got an idea, who can help. Let's just put it in action and see what happens as a result. And that's going to be the way moving forward. I think we're going to want to take more control and not just trust that everything is running the way that it should be running. Because really, how do you shut down the world in such a short time frame? Maybe the model needs some, you know, rejigging.
Well, it's ironic too that we were saying, we can't possibly shut down the world for climate change, and yet
I know. And it's like, okay, you guys aren't listening. Here we go. Game on.
Benefits of all of this as well, with a bunch of industries shutting down for a little bit.
Big reduction in emissions for a while.
Yeah, we may just reach those targets faster.
Well, have you seen we will reach our targets now, but have you seen as well the footage about the dolphins in the canals in Venice, and you can actually see them now? And so I think there's a lot of things, and I really want all of our communities to really focus on that, because it is going to be hard. Like you said, Zara, some mornings are really tough. And I've been really clear with the people that I work with is, like, just take that. Like, just give into it when it is, but put an egg timer on it, or say it's for an hour or whatever it might be. Because, you know, I think there's a lot of Pollyanna out there as well. Like, I could just be positive and optimistic. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, spare me. So I think a really practical appreciation of where we're at, but just giving into when it's heavy.
Yeah, and I think, you know, a model that we often use is acknowledge, accept, address. So acknowledge that the world has changed ultimately.
And that's a bit shit for now.
It's a bit shit for now, and that there's not a lot you can do. But, you know, kind of harness the control that you have in the way that you think, in the way that you connect. So acknowledge, accept basically the new normal and where things are at, and that you're not going to know what to do next, and you might not have the same motivation right now, and that's okay.
But there might be some steps I can do today. I can get on the Centrelink site and see what they've updated overnight.
Yeah, that's right. I can see where Troy's thinking is.
Zara, I'll just stick with you, honey. He can go have his dinner. I'll run with you.
And then address, you know, and it's interesting because a lot of our speakers are A-type personalities, like incredibly driven A-type personalities who never, ever stop. And I found it fascinating that in a couple of days, at least 10 of our top tier speakers were bang into a new digital online program that they were selling, bang, finding ways that they could connect with the world. And that's great. That can work. But in some ways also, I think it's not a bad idea to take a breath, take a step back.
Yeah.
Just kind of look at what's going on, how it's happening, how it's unfolding, let the ideas percolate a little bit, get into action where you can during the day, and then regroup and say, now is the time.
Yeah.
Step up. But you're quite right. we've all got a role to play with the way we think about this and the way we think ourselves out of this.
And I love the analogy of, being on a war footing, because what a digger's known for, throughout our conflicts in history, they're known for their sense of humour, they're known for their practicality, and they're known for their mateship and their ability to look after others. So that'd be a good thing. If we could pull that off, that's probably where we should head.
And our ability to go, she'll be right.
She'll be right, mate.
Well, that one's got us into trouble. Social distancing out the door with, she'll be right.
That's true. That's
true. That kind of worked against us this time. So we'll go with the bigger analogy, I think.
The mentality was, it's not like it's a communicable disease. Oh, hang on. Maybe it is.
Communicable right there.
If one of us is getting it, we're both getting it.
We're going down.
You're going to go down together. I guess the other thing, just before we do wrap up, and it's been an amazing conversation, is I would love if there's something that you can give as something that people can practice, or a skill, or something they can go down a rabbit hole on that will really help them in this period. So if we're going to be locked away, what would you be working on as a speaker, and what's the easiest way to do that when you don't necessarily have access to going out in the world or doing a workshop?
Well, I would say, off the top of my mind, it would be keep creating.
Yeah.
Keep creating the next thing. Now, this is for a lot of us, we're speakers, and it's a spoken medium. So keep speaking.
Keep speaking is great advice.
Yeah. So whether that's crafting up a new piece that you think, this is what the world needs to hear right now, and testing it online. So actually, crafting up a new chunk of a story ultimately that you can share, and then putting it out there and seeing what happens. I would say keep generating content, keep creating, but through the lens of where everybody is thinking and feeling right now, because there's a lot of fear in the world, a lot of uncertainty. The reason we all go and run for toilet paper is because that's the only thing we can control in this moment.
Yeah.
So how do you empower people to believe that they've got more control at their fingertips to be able to take steps forward and be ready when the wheel starts to turn again?
Yeah.
So keep creating would be my advice. Create something today. Say to yourself today, I'm going to write a blog, I'm going to record it, I'm going to put it out there, see what it's like, and then I'm going to review it tomorrow and do something different and better tomorrow.
And now's a good time for emerging speakers to not be worried about, my social audience is only small. Perfect.
Yeah.
And there's no real fear of rejection right now either, is there?
And the other thing you can be doing, I guess, is getting small groups together, having these chats like we are right now. But if you're a new speaker and you want a free piece of the software, StreamYard is really good. You can do Facebook Live on that with closed groups or with wider groups. So just get in there, give it a now? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, connect. Keep connecting.
And what's the number one mistake that anyone can make right at this moment?
Give in to the fear. Give in to the drama. Give up.
Yeah.
Please don't give up.
Yeah, because what we really need is voices of clarity and positive change in our world, and we need to believe that it can be different and it can be better, and that we can do that together. And even if you're not sharing that online, thinking it and harnessing the discipline to believe it right now, I think that we have a power to be able to create a better world. And I really wonder, in some ways, like you could get pummeled for this, whether this was the change
that we need.
Maybe that we needed to wake us up.
Hey, Paul Keating. But it's true.
A Carl Sagan shirt today which says, "You are the universe experiencing itself as a human being for a little while," and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Zara. I believe that this is an opportunity, and we had to slow down. Like, we were all crazy. We were all ramping up even further, and so I think it's an opportunity. The one thing I will say on that creativity and writing that piece of blog is one thing that I have had to work with a number of people on is de-escalating their language. People are picking up the language that's surrounding them, and it's infusing their own language. So that would be the other thing as well. When you say look through the lens of where people are at the moment, make sure you may need to de-escalate your own language.
You're bang on there. And the amount of times I go to send a text or an email and you want to kind of acknowledge where things are at, or you want to kind of use the language that you hear on the news, and I find myself delete, replace it with something that is going to get them thinking about something that's possible in their lives, not what they can't do. So I think language and being mindful of every word that you share with another human being. In our masterclasses, we believe that all happiness and success comes down to two stories: the stories that we tell ourselves, our own capabilities about the world, and the stories that we choose to share with others. So be a beacon of light in this world right now, and that could be the very thing that tips us into a new way of living well into the future. And that's what we all want. We want to do it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want something practical and fun to have a laugh to do, Jerry Seinfeld is the master of script editing. He is the greatest script editor alive in the world today. There's plenty of documentaries. They're on Netflix. There's one called The Comedian. There's another one behind Seinfeld. There's all of the Seinfeld comedy specials. Go and watch those. See a master writer at work. He's someone who would spend an entire day taking 2 words out of a sentence for the benefit of comedy. If you want to see
so there's actual documentaries on that.
Documentaries on it. Check it out. They're awesome.
Yeah, the one of the ones that he was talking about there is where Seinfeld decided after 30 years to dump all his material that's always worked and that brings the house down every time and start again. And then it follows his quest over a year of rebuilding a new stand-up. And it's
painful.
It's painful because he dies on stage. So he goes into clubs, people go, oh, it's Seinfeld. Then he starts and they're like, oh, he sucks. He's not.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's a great tip. So, yeah.
So don't be afraid to begin again, because maybe if we just jump back on the hamster wheel, we'll find ourselves in the same position. Don't be afraid to go right back to basics and start again and say, you know, if I had a magic wand right now and $50 million, what would I do? How would I do it? And who would I be helping?
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for your time today, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here, but that's been absolutely brilliant and really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline.